Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my predictions for the first weekend of pack content here in Season 7 NBA 2K25 MyTEAM, and I'm finally not predicting out of position for the first time in a few weeks, so that's kind of nice. Changes up what this video is going to be a bit versus what the last few have been. I know they've been a little bit repetitive the last couple weeks, so I do apologize for that, but I knew out of position was coming at some point. I didn't think 2K would wait quite as long as they did to actually drop it, but we are here today to talk about what Season 7 content is probably going to look like. Excuse me, before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. Multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. So I really do not know what Season 7 content format is going to look like in terms of how many cards at what tiers. For Season 6, it was 22 card drops. Well, 22 card drops for the first couple weeks of the season, and then it was still 22 card drops, but they were only listed as 21 because there were invincible cards dropped in Prime, Pantheon, Glitched, and Out of Position, versus Signature Series and Fan Favorites not having an invincible card actually included in the packs, where they had 5 diamonds, and then these other sets had 4 diamonds with an invincible card that is separate here in this invincible tab. Now, what I am interested to see is, are we going to continue to get these 22 card drops? Are we going to see another 1 invincible 200 overall drop, kind of like we did last week? Or are we going to start to see more of these drops where we see maybe 300 overalls and 2 invincibles? Like, I don't exactly know what's going to happen, but I do think it's going to continue to ramp up. I mean, it's already clearly ramped up a lot without a position, and invincible Jokic and invincible Wemby and invincible Giannis and all these different cards that have come out over the past few weeks. Obviously invincible LeBron last week without a position. Just insane sets of cards that have been dropping as of late in my team, and I don't expect that to become any less true over the next few weeks. But I am interested to see what the format is going to be, and I don't know that yet. Now, I think the format will likely be relatively consistent throughout the season, but we'll have to wait and see what that is going to be. As of now, I'm only predicting 1 invincible for tomorrow's drop. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if there is more than 1, but I'm going to, as of right now, stick to the 1 and stick to a couple 100 overalls. But before that, we are still going to get some lower tier cards. Now, I do personally believe that we are probably going to see pink diamond and up from this point forward, is my guess. If I am not mistaken, last year around this time, Season 7, we started to get these drops that were, in fact, let me just see if I can find the Season 7 content drops from last year on 2KDB real quickly. Here we go. So Season 7 content last year started with, that was the first week. This is the second week of Season 7. We had a GOAT card and a couple 100 overalls, in addition to Dark Matters and stuff. Did we have anything? Everything was Opal and above, actually, at this point last year in Season 7. Now, with the player market, things definitely worked differently. 2K23 had an auction house, so I think that could be a little bit more accurate to potentially look at, but obviously 2K23, we started getting in-game cards super early, kind of like we've gotten invincible cards early this year, so it'll be interesting to see how this works out. But either way, I do think at this point we are probably going to see, like, this was the second Season 7 content drop in 2K23, which was all Opal and up as well. So I think we'll see pink diamond and up, or maybe even Opal and up sets starting with this drop. Hopefully that means a lot of elite level budget cards, even if the drops are a little bit smaller. Hopefully that means a lot of really good affordable cards. The beauty of end game MyTEAM is that you start to get drops where, like, every single card can be used, and it becomes more a matter of opinion in terms of who you want to use. Sure, some cards are still obviously better than others, but it becomes a lot more opinion based in terms of which cards you specifically want to use at any given time. And so that's something that I hope we see continue to happen here in Season 7. But I really don't know in terms of lower tier cards who we want. I mean, I wish 2K had Isaac Bonga's had Isak Bonga's rights. I don't think they have his rights anymore. So, like, I'm trying to think of other really good, smaller or bigger point guards that 2K could drop. They just dropped this Denny Avdia card. Obviously, it was awesome. And some other tall out of position point guards last week. But I'd love to see a little bit more versatility to that position still, and see continued high level budget point guards drop. One guy that I really hope we see with a Galaxy Opal or a Dark Matter card in tomorrow's drop is Artis Gilmore. 7'2", has not gotten a card since Season 1, if I am not mistaken, where I believe he was in the 70s edition drop right here. Yes, card is I mean, we haven't gotten an Artist Gilmore card since what, like September? Or maybe this was first week of October, something like that. It's been a long time. He got a Galaxy Opal card last year. Towards the end of the year, there was an absolute monster, was one of the best player market cards in the game. If he were to get an Opal or a Dark Matter, he could be incredible. Another name that it's probably a pipe dream that he gets a card that is a Dark Matter or below, but I hope he's not 100 overall. I would love a Dark Matter Taco Fall. That's just a guy that for me personally, while it probably is a bit unrealistic that we actually do get a Taco that's not 100 overall at a very minimum, if not even higher than that, potentially invincible, because 2K knows that he's a guy who can sell packs and make money. He's the type of guy that I would absolutely love to see get a Dark Matter. Could be an incredible card. Obviously somebody who's going to be 7'5". If they were to give him great stats and badges, like some of his cards have had in the past, he could be one of the best counters for some of these invincible and glitchy Dark Matter, like glitchy invincible 100 overall bigs like Wimby and Yao and guys like that. So that's a name as well that I'd love to see. I really hope we see another giant center, kind of like we saw with Mark Eaton a couple weeks ago. So again, that's the most important thing to me, is that we get really good point guard, really good center when it comes to budget cards, because I feel like for most other positions, you can kind of fill it in here and there. Now, with that being said, I would love to see like a really good shooting guard as well. That's something that would also be really nice to see. We haven't seen, I mean, I guess we're getting Paul George here, who's going to be everybody's starting shooting guard, but it'd be nice to have another like really good Dark Matter shooting guard to drop that's kind of on the level of guys like Kawhi, Amin Thompson, Peja Stojakovic, just to continue to improve the versatility of a position like that. So obviously that would be nice to see as well. And we'll see if we get some cards like that here in the near future also. But I really don't know who that would be. I mean, at this point, I'm looking at the names, the shooting guards that we haven't gotten. And I feel like as of right now, there aren't really any names that jump out to me as like super exciting, incredible cards. Bernard King would be cool. That's a name that I think of from who hasn't gotten a card since season 3, who has Curry Escape on that card, was really, really good with a nice jumper. So he'd be cool to see. Like a Dark Matter Bernard King could be a really good Dark Matter card, for example. That's a name that immediately pops into my mind. I know Rocco got a card last season, but an Opal or Dark Matter Robert Covington obviously would just be an even better 3&D version than what he currently is. Same thing with a guy like Cam Reddish, got a card in the Bracket Busters Festival in season 5. Could be another amazing Galaxy Opal Dark Matter budget card at this point in the year. Now, Dark Matters are probably still not going to be budget, but they're going to start to get more and more budget as season 7 progresses. What I don't think is going to get too budget, at least at the top, are obviously your Invincibles, but your 100 overalls. We'll see some more budget 100 overalls for sure. But a guy who I think is kind of due for a card, hasn't been too insanely long, but it was first week of season 5. Joel Embiid. I feel like 100 overall Joel Embiid would make a lot of sense to me. This is the type of card who obviously had a really down year this year and obviously dealt with a ton of injury issues and stuff as Philly struggled a ton as a whole, but a guy who is absolutely deserving of a 100 overall card and hasn't gotten a card in a couple seasons now, and would be the type of card who'd be a really, really good 7-foot power forward, 100 overall, likely one of the more affordable quote unquote 100 overalls while still being an awesome card. So that's a name that immediately jumps into mind for me for a guy who could get a really good 100 overall card who hasn't had a card in a while. So maybe not. We'll see if we actually get an Embiid, but that's the type of name that to me makes a lot of sense out of this drop. Outside of that, I mean, my main prediction realistically is the one Invincible, and I think we're going to go back to back with point guards. You know who we got last week? We got Larry Bird in the out of position drop. You know where we got Larry Bird? Was the All-Star break, and the All-Star Festival also gave us Magic Johnson. I feel like we also got a Karl Malone last week. We are so due for a Magic Johnson. I mean, he hasn't had a card since the end of season 4. Again, that means it's been 3 months at this point. It is about time for a Magic Johnson card. Invincible Magic Johnson would make a ton of sense to me. Another insane point guard who obviously would be unattainable to me and to most of y'all, but would be an amazing card nonetheless, and the type of headlighting card that would make a lot of sense for me as the next guy to get an Invincible. Another guy, by the way, who could get a card in the near future, Paul Pierce. Feels like he's a name who definitely could get a good card. He hasn't gotten very many good cards. 100 overall Paul Pierce wouldn't surprise me either. That's just a name that pops into mind as well when I see him. I'm like, oh yeah, that would make sense. He hasn't gotten a card higher than Opal. He's not generally the most hyped name in 2K, but obviously was an incredible player in real life and would be a really interesting card to get as well. But my main prediction, Magic Johnson, Invincible, 100 overall Joel Embiid. We'll see what else we get, but hopefully some really good budget cards, especially at the point guard, and a giant center as well, like an Artist Gilmore or Taco Fall or somebody like that would be awesome. So with that being said, that is going to do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.